right. My crib's lurking, don't die tonight. I just wanna dance with you, baby. Just don't move too fast, I'm too crazy. Man, down the avenue, get shaded. Take a nigga mind off that. We can dip fuck in the whip, slide right back in the function. One wrong work, start button. Put that on my Yankee hat. I'm a gangster crib, fuck gangster rap. Where the ladies at, where the hoes, where the bitches. Every real nigga know the difference. Band in the brown like the dope daddy shooting in the kitchen room. Northside nigga never went to pilot with nigga Rio. No gang color of Creole. T-strap moving for the D-Lo, we know.
I ain't never ran from nothing but the police. I ain't never ran from nothing but the police. I ain't never ran from nothing but the police. From the city where the skinny kept strong heat. Northside Long Beach.
Northside Long Beach. Hit the counter, make $1 flipping. Split the dollars with my mama children. Folks need portions, hoes need abortions. I just need your light of my business. Never no problem playing, no bitches. Never no problem spraying, no witnesses. No fakes, no cakes, been with the shit. Hopped out all day, didn't empty clips. Cut clears cause it wasn't about cash. School wasn't no fun, couldn't bring my gun. No change, gon' come like Obama say. But they shooting every day around my mom in them way. So we put an AK with Keanu them stay. And that's for any nigga say you got a problem with me. I'm crippin' when I'm living, come and follow me. Pistol poppin' Poppy Street.
I ain't never ran from nothing but the police. I ain't never ran from nothing but the police. I ain't never ran from nothing but the police. From the city where the skinny kept strong heat. Northside Long Beach.
Northside Long Beach. Dog still here cause the niggas like me. Police still scared cause the niggas like me. In the hood like $1 sweet tea or Louis Burger. You ain't with the business, nigga. Who you murder? You ain't heard of coach. Chain best stack smoking out the city. Right around with the same shotgun and shot Ricky. Little nigga shit is zigzag. Didn't got your back wet. Now he's running north side. Niggas better fact check front when you gun talk. I ain't heard clap yet. Now my niggas frustrated. They didn't nigga best yet. Except for little ham time. Brody bang 5 blocks. So I hit you only 5 times. Better grab chalk. Did it. Got away with it out the Civic. We crippin'. Long Beach City. Pay a visit. Park Ramon, the pop block, the corner. Give a hell to the Strokes and Nova. I ain't never ran from nothing.